Hey, what's up, guys? Note Investor here. Gonna give you guys a quick update on Bitcoin. I'm not gonna show a lot of the other charts, just want to give you guys some quick thoughts on what we think about Bitcoin here. Some of you guys are asking, has it bottomed? Did we see the low? Was that it? Or is this just a little bit of a bounce? And I'm gonna go over that, some of the levels that I'm watching here in the next couple of days. But the alts remained pretty strong all around. Yesterday, it kind of seemed like Bitcoin was just on hold, waiting. And as soon as we started to see a little bit of bullish action, a lot of those alts took off. We've seen some very strong moves in Binance, in Verge. You're seeing some of the other names really starting to lead the way. Litecoin's been strong. So there are definitely some positive signs out there. But ultimately, Bitcoin will have a strong influence on the direction of the market in the next couple of days. And so there's a couple of areas that I want to point out here. So let's take a quick look. Here we can see this is the 1 hour chart of Bitcoin on Bitstamp. And you can see we had a very high volume reversal off of the lows here a few days ago, and some good action came in. We just started to stair step our way higher. And it wasn't until yesterday that we finally broke out of some near-term resistance, and the level that I was watching was this slanted kind of neckline here, which yesterday was around that 7K mark. 7,100 ultimately was the level that I was looking for, but this was the area to be watching because we did form a pretty good double bottom on that 4-hour chart. So if you look at the 4-hour chart, there was a double bottom that was formed with a bullish divergence on that RSI. And so you can see we had the low and then the deeper low followed by a very strong volume reversal bar, and then it started to pause right at that trend line, and that was the battle there. But the other thing to point out too was during that double bottom, the RSI showed some bullish divergence there, meaning the second dip, which took the price lower, did not result in a lower RSI. And that just started to show that the selling pressure, at least for the near term, had begun to slow down. And sure enough, we're seeing some pretty good follow through here in the last day or so with the breakout above that trend line. And so where do we go next? And that's what I want to point out here. So if we zoom out and just look at the chart, there's a couple of key resistance points to watch as we approach the next day or so. Currently, we are sitting right here, and this turns into the 10 EMA on the daily chart. So you can see here on this daily chart, we've basically bounced right into that point. And you guys know I follow this moving average quite a bit, and so far in the last couple of weeks, this has been an area where the prices tend to stall out. And so this is the first test. We're seeing that there. Above that, however, the level that I'm watching, let me fix my charts here. There's two areas here that I'm watching. The big resistance zone will be going into this support level that broke down, which is just below that $7,800 mark. So right below 7,800, around 7,780 or so. And then above that, this little resistance zone, which we are basically at right now, which is, like I said, also the 10 EMA on the daily chart. And so this little box is the kind of the first target profit zone that I'm looking at on my trading. Also the first key resistance zone to be watching on BTC here in this little bit of a rally. At this point, I'm treating it more just like a bounce. That's really it. I mean, it's a big oversold bounce, especially when you go to the daily chart. We had this selling pressure, took the RSI down to about 30, and now we're bouncing. And so until we see some stronger action to the upside, some more confirmation, that's the approach I'm going to be taking. Now, I am doing some trading. I've taken some position in some of the alt names, but still remaining cautious all around until we see some more upside confirmation. The other thing to consider too is if this was a good double bottom pattern, which I believe it was, you can do a measured move on this pattern. And let me show you guys what I'm looking at there. So you take the depth of the lower leg and you move that up to the breakout point there, or the trend line, which then you extrapolate from the breakout point. And you can see that using a measured move on the double bottom takes us to about that same target, which is this resistance point around the upper mid $7,700 range. And so that's really the level that I'm watching here in the next couple of days is, could we rally and grind our way up into this little zone right here? And then that's going to be the test. Do we see a sharp pull back down here? Do we undercut the low, or do we just pause and maybe consolidate and digest some of this move before breaking out and moving higher? And so those are the next couple of levels that I'm going to be watching here over the next few days. For now, I'm just going to go with the trend. The trend remains strong, and we've seen some pretty good action here in the last couple of days, especially in some of the alts, like I said, but still cautious and still just treating this as a bounce from a more intermediate perspective until we see some further confirmation whether it's up or down. Now, on the downside, if it decides to stall out here and this was just a bounce and we begin to pull in again, then that's what I'm going to be watching for, is this RSI. This could quickly turn, and if it goes into that oversold condition, sub 30 mark, and the volume sees a big reversal day on the downside, then that will likely mark the low. The short positions on Bitcoin are also near some long-time highs, and so there's a lot of shorts out there right now that I'm thinking are maybe starting to look to potentially cover here, and if we get a little bit of a dip, that could also support and limit the downside action as those shorts begin buying back their positions. Alternatively, you could see a little bit of a short squeeze if we pop to the upside. So those are the levels I'm watching, guys. Just wanted to give you guys a quick update on the markets all around. Things look pretty good here in the near term, but we're bouncing into a little bit of resistance. So I think these next few hours, up to about a day or so, is going to be pretty key in telling where this market wants to go in the next day or so. Stay tuned for a live stream scheduled tomorrow midday. I'll be doing a midday live stream market updates, and so be sure to look out for that. And we'll go much more in depth. I will do a full review, look at the charts, talk about some recent news and items of interest. Thanks for watching, everyone. Until next time, take care.